How to think like a CEO. Hey, I'm Donnie Bovine, CEO and founder of Success Champion Networking and author of Endless Stream of Referrals. This is Growth Mode, a podcast all about how to grow and scale your business. Hanging out with me as always is Kevin Snow, the sales automation tactician and genius. And in this episode, we are going to talk about how to actually think like a CEO. Holy hell. If people only knew, Kevin, that took me 3 fucking tries to get the intro in today. My goodness. So
it's taking you more in the past. So,
yeah, so it's a good thing.
It wasn't a horrible day.
Right?
I was thinking though, we need to change the intro now. Though.
Yeah, for the new book coming out. So
yeah, because for the new book, because you're now the author of the best-selling book, Fuck the Focus.
For sure.
So
and what a cool thing, right? That's a great way to put it out there. Yeah, and here's the interesting thing is when I started the business, man, I never saw the CEOs that I worked for. I sold a lot. I've sold millions and millions over the years, but the only time I saw the CEOs of the companies I worked for was when, I brought in a new big account or I lost a couple of multi-million-dollar accounts over the years. When I went through a couple of mergers and acquisitions too, and they always wanted to make sure my book of business was going along for the ride, so they wanted me in the conversations. But so really, I didn't see the CEOs, and I didn't really know what a CEO did. For me, the CEO just sat in a freaking corner office, usually wood paneling of some shit because it was old school people, and they just did operational stuff, built things, create things, and showed up when things broke, beyond repair. But otherwise, I really was clueless about what they did. And I can tell you, launching my own business, evolving into a CEO has been a bitch. It's been a lot of work to think through, figure out, because, the way a CEO thinks has been just mind blowing for me because as an employee, you're always taught you got to do it. And if you don't do what you're told to do, then you're fired or reprimanded or whatever else. And a CEO just doesn't think like that. They think in a totally different perspective. So I'm looking forward to hanging into this episode, man, as we dive into really, thinking like a CEO and how to evolve into that particular mindset. Oh, what about you?
I think.
Go ahead.
I think this is a huge issue for business owners and entrepreneurs in general. I know when I relaunched Time on Target after I got back from the deployment and was looking at, all right, so how do I actually grow this into a business and not just a job for myself? I had a real clean cut idea of what a CEO is supposed to be doing. So I went out and did those things. And
like what?
In my mind, website, building really cool marketing slicks.
See, I got the
same building a culture deck that built the outline of how my
for one person, right? A culture deck for one person.
For one person. But in my thought was, I have this really cool business now and I'm going to do all this stuff and business is just going to flow in the door. And I won't be able to keep up. And that's literally not how it works.
Nah, isn't that crazy though? God.
And the funny thing is all the stuff I was doing, other than maybe creating the marketing slicks, because that's definitely not a CEO thing at any level or any stage of development. But the other stuff, thinking about the culture, thinking about, strategy of how I want to grow the business are all CEO things, but just not right at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
That, they're all stuff that a CEO would do. And if we use the Donnie test, is this something that what's his
Steve
name?
Jobs.
Apple would do? Steve Jobs. It's an Apple thing. I don't do Apple things. Is this something that Steve Jobs would do? The answer would be yes. So I'd keep doing it. But at the beginning, the role of a CEO is completely different. And people don't understand that. They think, oh, I'm up here, I'm a CEO. And it annoys me when people call themselves a CEO and they're the only person. I'm like, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, why is it though that when we launch a business, I think I'm going to say 90% of all people freaking who launch a business feel like that we're going to build our website, get the business cards made, we're going to have, the company all taken care of, everything, and we think that we're going to open up shop and the world's just going to be like, "Oh my god, where have you been my entire life? I can't believe I've functioned and not had you and your company doing business with me." I mean, it's because I know I got caught in that early on.
I think if it's because we're throwing out all this positive energy. We're
Ooh,
literally
toxic
everyone when you launch,
positivity.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it's we are all excited because we're making this giant move and we're doing something and we have this huge outlook on how it's going to have this huge impact, positive impact on our life, that we get taken for the ride with that positivity.
Yeah, dude, I so agree
Just
with that. But and it's also that.
and for are you impressed? I was all woo for a bit.
Well, but I mean, you're right. I mean, there's a lot to be said of the excitement, the oh my god, I'm doing this. For a lot of us, we just walked away from a corporate job and told them to fuck off, and right now we're out here doing this. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. And I don't think I know for sure I didn't freaking put the thought process of all the shit that I was fixing to have to do to make this a successful business. I was a sales guy. You go sell shit. You don't take into account all the other things and all the other moving parts that are fixing to come along for the ride. And it's a rude awakening, man. When you get to that point, you're like, oh shit, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Now it's time to get to work and start figuring things out.
Yeah, it's and the positive energy is a good thing, and I don't want anyone that's listening to us that is just launching their business and jumping away from a corporate gig to think, "Oh my god, this is going to suck," and I then stop being positive
By the
because it
way,
is
it's
a
going to
really
suck. Just so you know, it's totally going to suck, but it's going to work.
yeah, and it's going to suck, but when you get out the other end, it's going to be you're going to look back and say, "Oh my god, I did that."
Right. For sure.
And it's going to be really cool. And even we do that still as we keep growing success champions. We're like, wow, we actually pulled that off. We did that.
For sure. For sure.
That's really fucking cool. But that's a cool thing. That positive is what gets you into that process of actually being a CEO, and then you have to have that come to Jesus moment, or like, oh crap, I'm actually not doing the right things. I need to be doing this. That's actually going to get you through, to the other side where you're like, wow, I actually am a CEO now. I don't just have this cool title that I gave myself. So I sounded like I was bigger than I actually am. I actually am a CEO and I have employees and we have all this stuff. And now, oh my God, we now have 50 locations across the country. Crap. Now what do I do?
Right? Yeah, I know the exact moment when I realized that I was not acting, thinking, or interacting as a CEO, and I actually put it in the book, Fuck to Focus. And I'd reached out to a buddy of mine. I was about, I don't know, 4 months into building the business, maybe. No, I think I was about 6 months into building the business. And I reached out, and he'd run a couple of successful, companies, and I just reached out for advice. And when we sat down, he asked me to lay out my company and everything that I was doing and how I was doing it. And I went through all the stuff, right, where I was doing all my graphic design, I was doing all my operations, I was doing all my own accounting, I was doing my billing, I was doing everything down to taking out the trash in the company. And when I was done going through all the things, he looked at me and he said, "Donnie, you're not building a business. You're creating a shitty job for yourself." And dude, you want to talk about a fucking gut punch? Because he was right. I wasn't proactively, building a company. I was replicating what I had done the previous 20 fucking years, which is just get in and get it done at all costs. And man, I tell you, that drive home after that conversation was fucking tough. Because I drove home, I kept saying to myself, man, what does a CEO think about? How does a CEO work? How does a CEO manage their time? And I had no fucking clue, right? So, and that's the day I wrote my famous fucking, Steve Jobs list where I wrote down all the tasks and, put the column to the right, would Steve Jobs do this fucking task? And That's what really started me down the path to shift how I was doing things because, truthfully, an employee thinks, "How do I get this done?" And they're really focused on the how to accomplish it. A CEO, man, most times they're not thinking how, they're thinking who the fuck can get this done for me. And that simple mindset shift is a mastercraft of a move to really help you wrap your head around what you should be thinking about and moving things forward.
I think it's interesting that in both of our stories, it took an outside
Yeah.
individual to kick us in the nuts and make us realize that we weren't actually being a CEO and growing something that we could scale, that we were just creating a job for ourselves. Because that's what happened to me when I got back from the deployment. I was in my, oh shit, I don't have any clients thing. And I was talking to one of my friends from the UK, and we were chatting about stuff, and he literally did the same thing to me that you did. He's like, well, how is this scaling? You're not getting out of the guard. You're going to have to deploy again and again. You're going to have the exact same thing, because after the next deployment, you're not going to have any clients again at all. And it was literally like, oh, well, crap. And that's when he introduced me to the concept of, are you creating a business, or did you just create a job? And I'm like, well, shit. Now I have to think about how what do I create that can scale, that can survive me being gone? Yours was, how do I get rid of all the stuff and not just keep doing the same process? Mine was like, crap, I'm going to be gone for a year at a time on a regular basis. How do I make a business that survives that?
Right. And I think what I just realized is one of the first steps to start thinking like a CEO is have the courage to reach out to somebody else and say, "Hey, I'm fucking up and I need some help." Because that's a bold move. I mean, I know when I did it, there was a lot of not guilt, but animosity towards reaching out and saying, "Hey, can I talk to you about my business?" Because I had a lot of respect for this guy, and um, I knew I was fucking up. I just didn't know how. And, so I think, that first initial way to start thinking about your business and start thinking like a CEO is to reach out to somebody you have respect for and go, okay, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? But don't come at it from a place of fucking desperation. Come at it from a place of all right, I'm ready to fucking level this thing up and learn. Not the oh woe is me, what am I doing? I can't believe this shit's not working. You got to come at it from the mindset of all right, it's time to get to work. And obviously the way I'm doing it's not working.
I think, though, for a lot of people who are starting out as an entrepreneur or launching their first business, they don't understand that even at the highest level of business, the CEOs, Steve Jobs, Iger from Disney, Iacocca, if you want to go back a few years,
You're
they
showing
all
your
had
age.
coaches. Yeah, I know. Um, I was trying to think of really big name CEOs. But Steve Jobs, all of them, they have their own coach. They have someone that's their sounding board that they can go to and say, all right, I think I really just fucked this up, or this just happened and I'm at a loss. They're having these conversations with other people that are at their level, or maybe just a little bit ahead of them. How you find someone that's a little bit ahead of you when you're Steve Jobs or Iger, I'm not sure how that works.
Well, but I think it's also its
But
peers though as well. I mean,
yep.
it's they're not sitting there trying to do it all on their own. They're thinking a lot, that's for damn sure, but they're at minimum hanging out with people that are going as big as they are.
And they all have
Yeah.
a board of directors, an actual board of directors who are all just as successful as they are, that they can go have a business conversation with as well. So, I think it's really important for those new entrepreneurs that are listening. If that's you, it's like, oh, I'm just launching my business. Sweet. Who is your go-to person?
Yeah.
Who can you call that understands business and has gone through what you're going through, that you could say, all right, I'm lost. I need guidance. I need you to listen to my frustration and tell me how to fix it, because I don't know. And but for a lot of people, they didn't have them. I know when I had time on target launching, I didn't know business owners like
Right.
that.
Right.
I knew a bunch of army people and I knew a bunch of salespeople,
Yep.
and none of them I have that conversation with.
Yeah, no, I was similar in nature, and I was trying to think through who had done the things I was doing, and I just didn't have them in my Rolodex. So for me, I started really trying to find the communities of where those people hung out, how to get to them, and the most fascinating thing that I found is to get around those people. You got to go do the things that those people are doing. You've got to, actually try and build a business for one, but two, you got to be putting yourself out there and, putting yourself in the room where those people are going to hang out so you can have and strike up those type of conversations. And fascinating enough for me, it was getting on a lot of podcasts and getting on stages and things that got me to the places where I was meeting, interacting, and talking to these people. And so that helped me out tremendously. But successful people only want to hang out with other successful people. They're not hanging out with broke people, broke both mentally and financially. They want people that are getting after it. And, you know, any time in my life when I didn't feel like I was going for it, um, uh, I can look quickly at my circles of who I was talking and hanging out with, and it was a direct reflection of where I was at that moment in life. You know, Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it was actually networking is how I found mine. And I went to tons, started going to tons of networking events and focusing on really understanding who I was talking to in the room. And if they're a salesperson, I'd have a nice conversation, but I'd exit the conversation really quickly. And I'd really focus on finding business owners, and ideally people who were in a related industry where there's potential referrals that were going on. So I could then have that next meeting, that face to face outside of the event, where I could ask them tons of questions about their business and really dive into what they were doing and start building a relationship.
Isn't that
And so,
fascinating though, how much the conversation changes when you speak to a salesperson versus speaking to another business owner? The
yeah,
the whole dynamic, 'cause there's almost like this mutual respect thing going on because you both know how hard it is to fucking build a business. But the whole I know that was a big, big shift for me as I realized as I was building things out, was that shift alone was monumental. um, Even selling sales training, I really thought that I was thinking like a CEO as a sales guy, and I can tell you, I had no fucking clue what I was thinking as a salesperson versus prior to becoming a business owner and
well,
CEO.
one, they don't understand what you're going through. Two, I don't think they always comprehend the whole concept of finding out about the other person business so you can help them
Yeah, yeah,
grow
no, they're focused
and
on
be
the sale.
successful. They're totally focused on how do I get referrals from you or how do I sell you my stuff.
Yep, yep.
So there isn't that opportunity to have that type of conversation where you build this mutually beneficial relationship where you're helping each other grow.
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a mental leap to go from I need to get this sale to I need to build this lifelong relationship. And business owners, don't get us wrong, we're still thinking we got to get the sale, but it's just more focused on, okay, what can I learn from this person? They're obviously in the game figuring things out as well. How can I help this person? Because I know how hard it is to do this and build this. And you find yourself more ready to help them get where they want to go. And salespeople, you should listen up to that because it's a huge way to learn how to sell better. But and I think and it goes back to it's a mutual respect for, all right, you get it, and you can tell how long somebody's been in business by the dynamics of the conversation. Year one, you can almost feel that desperation. Year two, you can feel the evolution. Once you get to somebody who's been building a business for 5, 6 years type thing, the dynamics are more focused on market trends and where the economy is going, those kind of things, versus how do I find, you know, urgent success now, you know,
Yep. So I think part of the difference in the conversations is also, and this ties into the mindset of a CEO, is the timelines that we are thinking about.
mm,
So a salesperson is totally thinking about this month.
yes.
And they are focused on, well, here's my number, here's what I need. We have another 24 days left in the month, and I need to sell this. And that's their timeline.
Yep.
What can I do to sell this? And as they get towards the end of the month, now they start thinking about the next month and setting themselves up for that. Owners, entrepreneurs, especially ones who've been around, they're in their second year or third year, they're thinking on multiple timelines.
Yep.
They're still thinking about, hey, I need to close this deal because here's the revenue I need to hit for this month. I got to make payroll, or I got to do this or whatever. But then they're also looking at 6 months, and they're looking at a year out. And they're making plans of thinking about, all right, so, this person I'm meeting, this is a long-term play. This is a strategy that's going to generate us revenue in 6 to 9 months. This is someone who we can partner with. And as we grow and do this, they're going to be a resource for us in a year. So we're thinking, and we do that. We have these conversations all the time when we talk about people and how they fit in our world and when they are a good play for us. We're thinking at completely different
Yeah.
levels. We are sorting people by when they're going to fit and when they're going to be a key person in our world, and building towards that. And I think that is one of the big difference in the conversations, is because we are willing to have conversations as a business owner that aren't going to bear fruit tomorrow, but we're planting all the seeds for stuff that's going to go big in 6 months or further.
Well, yeah, and even further, because say we were already in conversations of what we're rolling out in 23, and I think that's a massive indicator of leveling up that overall mindset when you can look out into the future. I mean, when we first created the line of effort, you and I sat down and I put it in the book, Fuck to Focus, as well. But um, it was the whole thought process behind of, okay, how do we look at the calendar and see what's coming up and adjust for it as we were going through it. And two things that did is, one, it really allowed me to have more patience in the moment, because you could constantly say, hey dude, we're working on that in Q3 or Q4. And two, it got me to quit looking at the immediate success numbers, like, how many members do we have? How many downloads do we have? Those type of things, and got me to look towards the future.
Did it really give you more patience, or did it just give me a rebuttal to all your
I knew
questions?
you were waiting to say something. It gave you a rebuttal. I don't think I got any, more patience by any stretch of the fucking imagination. I'm still an instant gratification motherfucker for sure. But when you can think long term like that, it's huge, and it allows you to look at your business as in terms of years versus in terms of the immediate. Now, I can also tell you, a CEO is willing to flip the entire script on a fucking dime. We went from, one of the big moves we did this year is getting to the private community and opening up our own, Success Champions private community, because we saw the big changes coming down from Facebook and the likes there. And, we went from we're all in on Facebook groups and everything to Circle in what, 2 weeks? I think, just a few weeks, we made this fucking quick, massive pivot, and it was all because we had a long-term focus, but we're keeping a handle on what was happening in the moment, and allowed us to adjust to that. And I think, another thing that constantly happens for CEOs is watch how they manage their time. This has been a big one for me. And, one of the biggest shifts I had to do was to do $1 million time blocking. And what $1 million time blocking is literally you block out a certain meeting on your calendar like it's a $1 million close. And if that's going to be $1 million worth of revenue coming in your business, you're not going to miss that meeting whatsoever. But your CEOs, we're not sitting around doing piddly meetings. I mean, everything has a point, a purpose, and we're constantly executing. It's like, Kevin and I have very specific strategic meetings we're having throughout the week that we're meeting and discussing and carrying on with. But it's to keep us laser focused on all the different moving parts and pieces to the businesses overall.
Yeah, and those are super important because we've been a little bit off our schedule the last couple of weeks because of the different stuff that's been going on in holidays and whatnot. And this weekend, I was like, I feel like I have a lot to do, but I don't actually know what it is.
Mm.
and and even if you are the solo entrepreneur right now and you don't have a business partner or employees or management between you and the employees, you still need to do those meetings.
Yeah.
You still need to do that sync meeting saying, all right, so what's going on in my world?
I heard them all roll their eyes when you said that, because people do it every time we say it in front of people. We're like, no, we're serious. Go have those solo meetings with yourself.
Yeah, I follow Sean Whalen from Lions Not Sheep on a lot of my social media, and he posted last night at like 10:20, and literally his post was, "Hey, 10:20 p.m. I just got done doing my planning for the week. I know exactly the things that I need to complete this week to keep on task." And he referenced, "Hey, here's my big projects. We're launching an NFT. We're doing this, and I know all the stuff that's moving that I need to take care of this week to keep my business moving forward." And he did that alone on a Sunday night. He didn't do that with his team. He's going to be having a meeting with his key members of his team this week, working on all those
Yeah,
things.
because his team members all went, fuck. Right? Because
Yeah,
now
they
they know.
all read that. It's like, son of a bitch.
Right? Here it comes. Because Kevin does it to
It's
me all
like
the
when
time. Yeah. I'll send
it's like
him.
when
Yeah.
Donnie would message me, "I have an idea."
Fuck.
Fuck.
But,
But
that's it.
if a person that has a business at his level that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and launching really huge new product launches on a regular basis is doing a sync meeting by himself, you need to do it by yourself if you're just starting out, because
For
there's
sure.
no way you can keep up with all the hats that you're wearing.
For sure. I mean, and it's insane to think you can do it and well, if you can keep everything you're doing in your head, you are playing way too fucking small. I can promise you. Um, uh, I mean, a lot of the times when Kevin and I are having meetings, we have pretty detailed list of things that we're covering and talking about. But even during those meetings, there's oftentimes him or I are both going, fuck, meant to do that, or I forgot to do, right. I mean, it's on the list, so it's going to get done, but it's pretty powerful to have those laid out, so what happens next. But and the kind of the last way I want you to think about as a CEO, as we talk through this, is a CEO doesn't manage their own money most of the times. Somebody else is taking care of all that financial stuff and making it work, because most people, as they're building their businesses, manage their personal finance, or the company, like they manage their personal finances. And it's a surefire way to go fucking broke really quick. So you got to partner up with people, team up with people, and get that shit off your plate. So you have somebody else holding you accountable to the finances, the funds, and all of that, to allow you to actually properly budget for things coming up and forecast, what different events and launches and things you can actually do and justify. Because you know we're moving heavily into the stages now of having set up marketing budgets and bringing in more employees and the likes. And I tell you, it's a lot more intense when you start bringing in other people to help you manage all that kind of stuff, to balance you out as a whole. Yeah. So I think, guys, with this episode, if you really want to dive into how to think like a CEO, it's, don't think in how, think in who, manage your time, get around the peers that are going as big as you are. Watch the market, watch the industry trends, be able to move quick on your feet, and know who your experts are inside your business that are geeking out on the things they love doing so they can manage and take care of it. And, ultimately, think about where the company's going to be in years to come, not just focused on now. Play the long game on this and, don't worry about the immediate desperation of things that may be happening in your world. And go get the book Fuck to Focus, man. It's a game-changing book, and you're going to be blown away by how much detail I put into that to help you really get your business set up to scale. So, as always, if you got any tips, tricks, any value out of this, please leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Tell one person about this episode of this show. And, we just appreciate you guys always sending in the email messages and always, just sending your good vibes our way. So love you, mean it. See you. Bye.